Hey everyone here, welcome back to another Facebook Live that I'm doing right now. I'm very glad and grateful for everyone who's connecting, everybody who's being a part of this Facebook Live that I'm doing right now. But very interesting, and I know this is going to catch a lot of people's attention. When your customer says your product is expensive, or they always find an excuse. And, I've been working within the last 8 years in the sales industry. That's basically my background, sales. Sure, I've sold different products and services through those 8 years, but it's been an industry that I'm very aware and well versed and still actively do. And, sales is something that is not just a person's job. Selling is something we do. When you want to grab a chick, chick, and you want to go out to a date with her, well, you're going to sell the idea why she needs to go out on a date with you. You're going to sell to the idea of why you need to get that job. We're always selling, but one problem, and this is where I'm going to get real specific, we're going to be focusing on the importance of selling a product. Let's say if you're selling a bottle of water, you're selling Listerine, whatever product you want to be selling. One of the key things most people are struggling with nowadays is how do they get to that point? Because sometimes, even for something so simple that's worth $1, someone's going to find an excuse to say it's expensive. So one of the key things I've learned within these last 8 years of dealing with the sales or selling a product or service to an individual, one of the most important things, you have to let that prospect, that customer, that client, however you want to call it, let them talk about their concern and do not interrupt them. Now, that's a very key point. What happens is most salespeople, we're so eager to get the profits, the earns that we want, we don't sit there and listen to the customer. Because maybe that product that you're pushing, you're promoting, is not what they want. It is not what they need. So what you want to do is, okay, take a step back and listen. Listen to the concern. If you're in the health supplement business and you want to promote your health supplements, well, listen to what that customer is asking you. Because if the customer is telling you he has diarrhea problems, don't sell him something for the heart. It's because you're not going to get it and you're not going to do the sales. And then the customer is going to find the way to say, you know what, the product's not for me or the product's expensive. If you're in the beauty, listen to what that person is. If that person's telling you, I get reactions to the product that I use on my face, well, listen, don't go ahead and push your product and be like, oh, well, my product's great, it helps with everything. And then that person ends up getting allergic reaction. So these are things you want to do. You want to always listen to the customer. Once you listen to the customer, you listen to their concerns, that is when you want to go out there and let them, that is when you want to let them know the benefits. First, you listen to what it is. Figure out what is it. So listen to them. If they're telling you ABC is the reason why it's difficult for them to expensive, you got to explain why ZXY is going to be a benefit for them. You don't want to always just tell them buy, because when you do that, pressure. Also, if you are the one selling the service or the product, please make sure you clarify you understand the real questions or the objection that customer has. Because there are people who are going to flat out just say no matter what. And that's true. But there's other people who are a yes, but because they don't have the information, they're going to tell you no. Sometimes they're going to be very direct and they're going to give you the question to you. They're going to say, well, I am looking for this. And instead of you listening to that question or understanding the objection, what is going to be the barrier for you, you go ahead and you turn it against them. You go ahead and tell them that you're not interested. So you want to actually take time and you want to focus on that. You want to really focus on what is that objection that they're doing. The other thing you always want to do, make the questions or the objection valid. And this is kind of goes into the area where you say, yes, the customer has reason, or yes, the customer is always right. It's kind of in that area, but not completely. So what you do is when you get these, when they make the question or they make the objection, make sure it's a valid question. Because sometimes, yes, there are people who don't like to make valid questions. Sometimes they're just out there to make you seem like you're not knowing what you're doing or whatever, and try to make a fool out of you. But what you want to do, is take a focus on what is that question or the exception. And if you see that it is a valid question, well, answer it correctly. Don't go into a sales pitch of da 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 da. No, answer the question. You want to, because see, one of the things in sales I feel, and I've noticed this, and I even seen it live from someone in Costco to Men's Warehouse to Walmart. They push their things and they're not listening to that question. That is an objection. They're basically, the customer's asked you this question because they're preparing to say no if you don't answer it correctly. So take a step back and make sure you get there, listen to that question, make a valid response to your customer, and then from there, they're going to be opening to you. The other thing, handle or felicitate the handling. And what am I trying to say this? Well, this is going to be a very simple thing. Handle the situation as a professional. Don't handle it for you looking the benefit that it is for you. A lot of the times is when these situations in sales come up, a lot of customers are looking very strongly, the salesperson is looking very strongly to get their thing across. They end up kind of getting into a disconnect with the customer, and they're not really listening to that individual. You really got to handle the situation correctly. You got to also be able to approach the situation correctly, because there's some people are going to be outgoing and generous, and they're going to have the flow of the conversation with you, and blah, 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 blah. Other people will not. So you're going to need to be able to understand way that conversation does, way the sales go, how it is. And one of my perfect examples always, and I like to share this story, is I worked at Men's Warehouse. It was one of my first major jobs. I worked there selling tuxedos to suits and all those gadgets, right? As I like to call it. Well, sometimes some people would just go in there and their thing was, I want a black suit. I want a black suit. I just need a black suit, black suit, black suit, black suit. Well, have you ever thought of a charcoal gray? No, what do you mean? And you get that backlash. Well, you can get a charcoal gray suit. You can use it for all occasion. Black suits you can't. It's not going to be that much beneficial. But the charcoal, you can take away this the sport coat part of it, and you can wear it, or you could just take the slacks, and you can use it. Just making all those things go through, because and I just explained them the benefits of different color suits and everything for the occasion. So that way, instead of just going in there and, I just want a black suit, they end up actually getting more than just a black suit. They also get an experience. And then I also explained the different cuts in suits and all those things. So when you do that, the customer then at the end of the day doesn't complain about when they dropped $1,500 for a suit. They were actually very appreciative that they are spending their money wisely and they're getting the maximum for their bucks. And that's the way you handle that. And always return. And this is where once you're done getting that person, if the person's okay, and even if they're not okay going through with the sales, you always want to return back to where you left the question or the objection. Always make yourself go around that. Do not try to avoid it or always make sure you answer that customer's satisfaction. Answer that customer's question or objection. Because if you're able to answer and you can come back showing that you, paid attention to what they were looking for, you paid attention to what their needs were, they're going to be willing to listen to you. And they're going to be willing to now consider it. Because most people, believe it or not, most people could have $100 to $500 in their pocket. And some people do have the itch that they want to spend it. But when you go out there, make sure that you give that product, that service, what exactly they're looking for. They're going to sit there and be willing to listen to you all the time. So just always make sure that, if you didn't get anything out of this whole Facebook Live and you've been watching it for the last few minutes, one thing, I'm going to make it even simpler. Listen. Always listen first before selling. And then answer questions professionally. Listen to the questions that the customers want. Listen to what they're craving. Because when you focus on the customer and let them know that you're paying attention to them, they're going to listen to you. And 3, I'm going to close this. Before you finish your sales or before you go back to promoting the price of your product, make sure you answer to your customer's question or objection. Make sure you answer that question before you close the deal with them. If you guys have any more questions or want to know a little bit, get more tips on sales, please feel free to reach out to me. You can always send me a direct message. This is something I've been doing within the last 8 years and something that I've been developing, and I've gotten into a routine myself. So let me help you. That would be, because if I were to show you how to be more effective in sales, would you be willing to learn? That is my question to close this Facebook Live. Thank you, take care, and may God bless you.